What's up, guys? This is While Supplies Last, the marketing podcast,
where we talk about all things business and marketing. My name is Laura.
And I'm Gabby, and today we have Sterling and Kyle from Blue Collar Connect / Do Work.
Yes.
Joe's usually here, but he's out of town.
He is, yeah. He's in Montana doing some fishing and spending some time with family and sending me all the pictures about how it's like a perfect, like 60 to 70 degrees and all the mountains.
Nice there.
It's
Wow.
pretty busy.
Nice. We're boiling down here.
105 today.
Yeah. So I made the mistake yesterday. I thought like stepping into the shade would help. Not in Texas.
No.
The humidity here
Yeah.
is what
Yeah.
gets you.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, today we're going to talk about services marketing, which is up their alley pretty much. But yeah, so services marketing is basically the marketing of service-related businesses. So like plumbing, carpentry, house cleaning, stuff like that. So why does service marketing differ so much from general marketing?
Ooh, that's a great question. So that's from my experience, like product marketing is like you're selling the solution that it solves, right? But when it comes to like trades, for example, if you're a plumber, it's pretty clear what you do. I think ultimately at the end of the day, it's like what services you offer, like whether you do water heaters or not, if you're just light plumbing, like underneath the sinks and things like that, cleaning out drains and all that fun stuff. But yeah, you're selling yourself at the end of the day with the service because you're so like deeply attached to it. Most of the time people are buying the relationship or the interaction that they have with you personally. They refer you because your relationship that you have with them. It's not, you're not buying the newest iPhone because you love Steve Jobs. It's he didn't call you personally and was like, hey, man, I got this thing going on.
I got this thing.
You should check it out, maybe.
It's going to really help you out.
It's got an apple on it. It's got an apple picture.
So, like, when I think of services, I think of, like, a handyman. Like, my dad's a handyman. And
great.
he does a variety of things, but it's services like that. Before this, I hadn't really known what service marketing was. I didn't know it differed so much, but after looking at it, it definitely does.
Yeah.
It has been really interesting, the marketing aspect of it and how different it can be. What, like, steps are different specifically?
Yeah, so I think more of it is organic. Like you have to get out. The last few podcasts, we've talked so much about networking and getting engaged with your community and building those relationships by giving first before you're asking for, the sale or the lead or the referral, whatever you're asking for. But yeah, with the service-based stuff, like you got to get out there and you have to do the work, hence do work. That's a big part of what we're after. So that takes time. It's, you can't just throw money at that problem. You got to, really dive deep into who you're having conversation with, be thoughtful with your approach and your strategy towards it, which thankfully for service-based industries is fairly cheap. It doesn't take a lot of money, but it does, again, take that time. So you need to be careful with who you're spending your time with and where you're putting it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So word of mouth is definitely
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Organic marketing all the way. So, yeah, and we see time and time again, specifically trades industries, so roofers, plumbers, painters, electricians, landscapers, you name it. They get targeted a lot by big ad agencies because they want to sell you, social media marketing or ad mailers or anything like that, which some industries that does help with, right? Like there are some trades that does help with. Carpet cleaning is one of them. Pest control is another one. Mailers will help with that, but not a lot of other ones. So anyway, they get targeted by those ad agencies because they want to take their money ultimately at the end of the day. And I can't tell you how many companies we talk to personally that spend tens of thousands of dollars on that kind of advertising and never get anything in return. And so it's just money down the drain. And it's not, it's not a good, effective way to get after it. But yeah, definitely on the organic side. It doesn't cost money to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Kyle? What's been your approach so far with, service, like, because you're doing, introduce yourself, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, so I do solar, in the trades and home service, but I also came from the fitness industry, which is, me and my wife, we have a business, and it's all service-based. We're not having a tangible product. And I think a lot what Sterling was saying is service industries are relationship built. They're not a tangible item where you can just go to the bottom dollar, go pick it up, go buy something. They're buying the person.
Yeah.
They're really getting the service because of the person that's actually there providing the service, and you're building those relationships. Okay, people buy from who they trust and who they like. You can't really trust a product, a tangible product. So on the service side, like on the solar side, a lot of it comes from the people that they're buying it from, the company it's from, not because it's panels. Everyone can go buy a different panel, a different solar system. They're buying it for the person, that relationship there, which Sterling touched a lot on that because that's huge in the service industry, which is way different. A lot of that is built through organic marketing. It's not paid advertising. It's actually getting to know the person through networking.
Yeah.
And that's what's crucial in the service industry.
Yeah. So trust is a really big thing then, especially with that type of
Huge.
stuff.
Yeah.
Huge.
Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers?
Oh my.
You know how they have Teddy, the handyman?
Yeah.
He does all the services for them. That's what I think of.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a trusting relationship. So, like, I mean, it works.
Well,
Oh,
and-
absolutely.
Yeah, and that trust goes far for like a lot of businesses. And that's one of the highlights with Blue Collar Connect of what we're putting together is, we got 40 trades and home service people in the room together. And so often we see like, let's say it's a light remodeler. Someone will go in and do some bathroom stuff, new mirror, new tub, whatever. But then something happens with their electrical. They don't call an electrician. They call the person that did their bathroom remodel. So they already have that relationship with them. And it's, hey, I got this going on. Can you fix it? And it's like, well, I can't fix it, but I know this guy over here. He's an awesome electrician. He's a good friend of mine. Let me do an introduction and bring him over. And then that turns into the next thing, turns into the next thing. And we've seen already in Blue Collar Connect where one client comes in, let's say they're working with a home inspector, right? But that home inspector is looking at everything. So they're going to identify all the electrical problems, all the plumbing problems, all the roofing issues, right? So then those are like relationships that he could then bring in the people he works with within the group to help build that as well. And again, all that's free. That doesn't cost anything. It's just the
It
relationship.
doesn't. And a touch on what he said is it's huge when one customer can provide business for 10 different home service and trades businesses. So it's crazy. You're not just providing this thing for one guy. You're doing it for a ton of different businesses, which is why we love, like, that's the whole point of Blue Collar Connect, bringing everyone together and building those relationships so you can create all these different relationships and business for all these different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think on the advertising side too, don't quote me on this, but Steve Jobs did a little snippet on like marketing and advertising and specifically how the Japanese approach it because they spend the least amount on like advertising marketing dollars, right? But they also have the highest trust when it comes to their product. Like Samsung, for example, like if you're a Samsung fan, you're like live and die by Samsung.
Yeah.
Like you don't even entertain the idea of buying another product, but they spend nothing on marketing. Like it's not, throwing money at the problem. It's that relationship you have with their person or the product in that case. So,
Yeah.
So for people like starting out, like trades service people just starting out, I know you talk about networking a lot, but what's other ways that they can do to like build trust among like potential clients?
Ooh, potential clients. I think the trust really comes from the results. Like, what are you actually doing? Talk is cheap. I say that all the time because everyone wants to like sell a dream and a promise and all that stuff, but who's actually delivering on that and who can? We see a lot of times in the marketing world, guys are like, I'll get you. Well, actually, I saw this the other day. This guy, he jumped on a contractor group in Idaho, and he's like, I'll get you 65,000 followers on TikTok in a month. Like, guaranteed. Here's all my expertise, right? Which was very little. But it was hard for me because I watched all these guys, like, fall into that trap. And they're like, I'm interested. Sign me up. Let's go. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, all right, let's say he gets you half of that, like 30,000 people on TikTok. What's the likelihood those 30,000 people are going to call you to come clean their carpets or fix a light switch or something like that? That's not going to happen. They're going to go to Google. Like they might like and follow your page. You might have some sort of audience. But they're going to go to Google and type in electrician near me. And that's the guy getting the business. And a lot of that is built through the reviews on Google, right? It's the results of your service that you're providing. So a lot of that, I think, just adds value and ammunition, I think, ultimately in building your business is just the results that you're driving. So you got to get out there, put the customer first in some situations and, under promise, over deliver. I think that says more than a lot. So.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think too, if you're a new business, a lot of the give mentality too, because you're a brand new business, people don't know you. So on top of that, like what things you can do to help is you don't want to like always give stuff for free, but sometimes at the beginning, like just offer to help someone. Your business doesn't grow that way because it's brand new. So just offer to do something for someone just to help them. And just by doing that, then it's like wildfire and it's going to spread. Just having that give mentality of just being able to constantly help people. What can I do to help this guy, whether it's helping with their plumbing or do I just connect them to the right guy here? Just things like that can help grow a business. Like huge.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, I think, in the last podcast.
We did.
You know, just
I missed that one.
you were missed.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you create that value like socially within the market is exactly that. Like you have to be a connector. You got to be willing to give and shake. And we were talking marketing, right? Like when you go into a room to network, how do you market yourself efficiently? Mm-hmm. And there's very clearly a dividing factor between the givers and the takers. And the takers don't usually last a long time. Not to throw anyone under the bus, but we see a lot of turnover in like the insurance world. And they all do the same thing. The companies are great about getting them hyped up and go out and change the world. You're helping people and you can make $1 million doing this. And so, a young college kid comes in fired up selling insurance. And he's the 9th one that night trying to sell you New York life. So it's like, thanks, but no thanks,
Yeah.
I don't know you. I don't have a relationship with you. Therefore, I don't trust you, right?
Yeah.
And that industry is just hard because of the turnover. But most of the time with trades and home services, like that's what they know. Mm-hmm. They're a plumber because their dad was a plumber, or they're a mechanic because their dad was a mechanic. And it's like, it's so close to their heart and there's so much passion that drives that. Yeah. It is 100% their vehicle to achieve the lifestyle that they're after. And so much of that is just driven by that passion, just that raw desire to want to help somebody in that time of need. Mm-hmm. And with that too, what you gain out of that, like, you feel like you're fulfilled ultimately through that because you're genuinely helping somebody in that time of need.
Yeah.
And we see a lot with the trades guys. They will often lower the price to help somebody out, which isn't always a good tactic. But when you're in the home and you're like, you got this 80-year-old lady who's just barely getting by and she just needs some light switches changed out, they're not going to charge full price. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're genuine there to help their community. And that builds so much trust with it too. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think recently I actually saw something. The services industry, I guess, is really good because it's people who like doing electricity. It's stuff that they know that they're good at, and I know that some people struggle because while they're good at this, are they good at business? Because
great question.
Yeah.
Usually the answer is no.
Yeah. So that's like what usually sometimes can be the downfall is like, I might be good at fixing lights, but am I good at the business aspect of it? Am I good at the marketing stuff? Right. So that's always a struggle that can occur.
Yeah. Yep. And it doesn't just happen in trades and industry. Like in the service industry, it happens more often, I would say. Just because you don't have a team behind you. Most people in the service industry, it's like a husband-wife kind of team trying to build a life and a legacy for their family. And how do you take it to that point? How do you go from, which actually happened, one of the people that we've worked with was a painter. And when we first ran into him and his wife both working full-time jobs and trying to do this paint business on the side, this was the vehicle they chose to reach their lifestyle, right? To reach their dreams. And they were struggling. They were doing that for a long time. But thankfully, through the magnificent mind of Joe McKiddish, he was able to dial them in through some coaching and some business strategy. And then I found it interesting in that conversation, Joe sat him down. He goes, what's your biggest dream? What's the one thing you want to achieve with this business? He thought about it for a moment. He went, I want to make $1 million. And without skipping a beat, Joe was like, why so little? And the guy's like, well, $1 million, that's a lot of money. Think about what I could do for my family with $1 million. Joe's response, what can you do for your family with $3 million? And he's like, man, that'll never happen. That's impossible. I'll never make $3 million in my life. And Joe was like, watch this. And so this was in January. Come April, the guy made his first $1 million.
Wow.
So this is in 3 months, right? And then he's like, all right, I'm seeing the vision. I'm seeing the reality of this. Let's chase it. And at the end of the year, he came close, but he closed at $2.7 million
Nice.
in his first year. Him and his wife both able to quit their job, run this full-time business.
Wow.
And he's now expanding into other markets in other states. And this is in a year, the life change that happened, right?
Yeah.
So more often than not, to get back to your point, you're really good at what you do, but how do you turn it into a profitable business that's going to provide for your family? That's a hard thing to figure out. And a lot of times people just chase, well, this is the way my buddy does it, or I saw this guy on YouTube and he's really smart, so he must have all the answers, right? But he doesn't know you personally. He doesn't know your personal struggles. I would highly, highly, highly encourage, if you're in trades and home services, look for a group or somebody that you know personally who has built that business that can help take you to that next level. Where you hire them on as a coach or a mentor or somebody to help you grow within the mindset or the technicality of your operations, sales, marketing, all that stuff. You're going to need input.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what you guys are doing with Blue Collar Connect, right?
Absolutely.
You're bringing all the trades and service people together so that they can build that organic networking or marketing also, and just help each other out.
Can y'all give me a little synopsis or a little pitch on what Blue Collar Connect is?
Kyle
Y'all
would
do?
love to do that.
7 words.
Yeah, so Blue Collar Connect is a networking group, but we're building something much, much bigger. Like a lot what Joe was talking about is the business development side. A lot of not just trades and home service, but a lot of people, they'll get in, they're really good at something. They're really good at doing gutters. They're really good at being a plumber, but can they run a business? Because that's something completely different. So in Blue Collar Connect, we're creating this group of referral partners. Imagine being in a group of 40 people that all refer you business, every single one of them, versus just 10 trades or home service guys. So you have all these guys referring you business. Okay, well, now you have the referrals. You have everything coming in. You have that money to help provide for your family. Well, how do you now create an empire? Like, how do you actually get it to where it's a sustaining business? And that's where infamous Joe McKiddish and all the resources we bring in help the business owner do that. Because it's just more than a networking group. We're bringing in experts in different fields. We're doing all that to help these businesses really grow, not just become a referral networking where we just do referrals. It's just we really want these businesses to grow. That's our goal. We want them to build an empire that they can provide for their family, their friends, their community. That's what we're doing here at Blue Collar Connect. It's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah, it is going to be massive. And on that, too, it's so interesting because it's like all the experts that we're bringing in are specific for trades and home services. So, like, scalability is a hard thing. You need a team to scale, and that tends to be one of the more focused issues for trades and home services is how do you hire the right person, right? Well, thankfully, we have someone in our network who is an expert for trades on building your all-star team. And so he shows you the strategy to do that, how to identify the right person, how to post the job listing, how to conduct a proper interview to get the exact person that you're hiring into the right position, right? Like you can't take a C-level employee, somebody who's going to show up and get through the day and put them in a management position because they're just going to get through the position, right? They're not going to take ownership of it. Anyway, that's a good example ultimately of some of the things he talks about. But with those phases too, to kind of bounce on what Kyle was saying is it's like you don't start a business to forever work in that business. I don't think. That's not why I've started my businesses, except for one. I really enjoyed it. I was like very involved in that business. I've been in it for a little over a decade and absolutely loved every minute of it. But if you're like an electrician or a roofer or something like that, you don't want to be 80 years old up on a roof still laying shingles, right? So you need to be able to build that business to a point that it could sustain itself and sustain your growth with your personal life as well. So we help do all that. And then the big aspect of the community part of Blue Collar Connect, this is the part I get really excited about because I love people, I love helping people, and I like hearing their stories, is business development is great, but at the end of the day, we all want a place to feel like we belong somewhere, right? We want our family outside of our family, and that's what Blue Collar Connect is going to build and provide as well, is this community for people to like support and grow each other, but also be like vulnerable and honest with each other. Like I can't help Kyle with his business, for example, if he's just going to give me the sunny side up story all the time. I need to know where his real struggles are, where he's like getting, where the bottleneck in the business is, right? And it might be Kyle. I don't think it is. I love Kyle. Amazing at what he does. But if it is, we need to have that honest and raw conversation so we can move past that to get to the legacy aspect, right? Because we all want to leave something behind for our families, and you can't do that if you're broke. I'm sorry. You can pass on other knowledge, experiences, characteristics, culture and tradition and all that stuff. But, if your son wants to go to a good college, it takes money. If you want to drive a Lambo every day, that takes money.
Yeah.
You could rent a Lambo, but it's like $1,000 for a few hours.
Expensive.
So you got really good insurance from what I hear. I'm more of an Audi guy. I don't know. Anyway.
A Subaru.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
They're nice and
All
safe.
right. They are actually.
Yeah.
They're really safe.
And they last a long time.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah. Joe is a giant Toyota fan, as
That's
we all
me.
know.
Me too.
Yeah?
I love Toyotas.
I have a Corolla.
Me too.
Yes.
We both have Corollas.
So I'm the odd duck out in this room.
I'm Dodge, so.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
We won't talk about my Hyundai. We won't talk about it.
Yeah, what Hyundai? What are you talking about? We got totally sidetracked. But
It's okay.
That's all right.
yeah, the community aspect of it is with each group that we're forming in Blue Collar Connect, the groups got to give back to the community in one way or another. So there's 3 avenues that we're exploring with that. The first is you could donate your services. Let's, we're working really closely with like Veteran Chamber of Commerce's and things like that to identify people in our backyards that need help. And there's some programs that are already established that we could bounce off of to identify those people to help. So we could go build decks for veterans that are having a hard time getting in and out of their house. We could go lay some concrete if they got some, things that have been going on in their back patio and they can't enjoy it, right? So there's a lot of focus there. We also want to help by just donating our time. So food banks, Rake the Town, things like that. There's some national programs that we could bundle in with to help just give back to those in our backyard that maybe aren't veterans but still need the help, right?
Yeah.
There's a really cool organization in Idaho. It's called Paint the Town. And literally what we do is just form groups. And we identify homes that need a little bit of upkeep, and we go help them out. We just spend the weekend helping. So
That's really great. Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
it goes back to building the trust.
How cool is that, right?
Yeah.
Like, to literally be there for your neighbors, I think is really important.
You're building a community.
100%. Yeah.
Relationships, like actual relationships other than just business, which you can see a lot in like networking groups and stuff. But
Yeah.
actually contributing is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate to break some hearts out there because I know this sounds amazing, but Blue Collar Connect is only for blue collar business owners.
Yep.
So if you're in insurance or advertising or anything like that, I love you guys to death. We will eventually form a group for you. Maybe. I don't know. But Blue Collar Connect is, that's where our hearts are, I think, at the end of the day.
It is.
Yeah.
So just for the business owners, not trades, like not the workers also.
They could bring their staff with them, their employees with them. That's a huge benefit to the business owners getting involved with Blue Collar Connect. The hard thing, though, is, if you're, let's just say an employee, like if you're the one like turning wrenches or laying shingles or something like that, you got to be on the job site. You got to be out there making money, right? But also past that, you're not the decision maker in the business. So you might not have the information or the ability to talk on some of those difficult conversations to scale the business, right?
Yeah.
And so like Kyle had mentioned, phase 1 of Blue Collar Connect, get you figured out, get you making money, get your family taken care of, get your bills paid. Phase 2 is all about the business. We've got to scale that business to make it like sustainable, right? And not only that, but to provide a lifestyle for your employees.
Yeah.
And I don't think any business owner out there really truly in their heart wants to pay someone minimum wage when they're out there working alongside them. If you're framing, for example, and you got your guys out there sweating alongside you and they're bleeding and they're taking time away from their family and you're paying a minimum wage, that doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
But if you could take care of them and actually give them a wage that's going to help them out, that's rewarding. That feels awesome. So we got to be able to get them to a point where the business could handle that. And you can't make that decision, unfortunately, unless you're the business owner. But
Yeah. I think that kind of reminds me of small businesses in general, that I feel like they very much, they're there. They're with their employees and they feel what their employees feel and they want to help them more.
Totally.
So bringing their business to a point where they can help them is great. And I think that what y'all are doing is great. And so, yeah, I just think, good.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Did you have another question?
No, y'all every time y'all come here, y'all answer all of my questions before I even get to them.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're
just
just
know.
good like that.
It's like,
They just know.
Well, if we bring it back to marketing,
Yeah.
to service marketing and being organic and everything and building relationships and everything through that. Is there any other tips that you would recommend? I mean, obviously, organic word of mouth is great.
And free.
Yeah, and free. That's the best part.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So is there anything other than those that you would recommend? Maybe just secondary to organic?
Yeah, so I think we're in a fortunate position to actually have Kyle here with us because this is something Kyle's really good at, and he spent some huge milestone achievements in his past career positions of being able to build something really epic. So I'd like to pick your brain a little bit on this question and just kind of let you do what you do, man.
Do what I do. So there are, I guess, if we're talking about not paid marketing, there are a bunch of different avenues to do it. There's cold calling. If we're talking just straight, you got a brand new business. How do we get this new business?
Wait, did you just say cold calling? We don't like those words.
We don't like
No one
You already
listening
said
wants to
it.
do cold
You already
calls.
said it.
It's okay. We can edit it out.
Oh, yeah, good call. What he meant to say was warm call. No, I was kidding.
Lukewarm calling.
No, but the reason I bring that up because that is nobody wants to do that. That's why I'm cold calling's an avenue, but no one wants to do that. So what we started doing, what Sterling was saying is there's a lot you can do just through something called one-on-ones, just meeting people. If you have a brand new business, it can be as super easy as picking up the phone book or going onto Google and searching a business and then calling the company, calling the business owner. How do I actually meet with this person to help them understand me? Because again, back to services, people buy from people they like and trust.
Yeah, building that relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So all we're doing is you're calling these people and meeting with them, having coffee with people in the trades and home service, or I don't know if I want to go down that route, but power teams. Like if you're in the insurance, meeting with other business development, and all of that can happen with a brand new business. Anybody can do that. It's free. Everyone's got a phone. Everyone can pick up a phone and call someone to meet with them. And it's super easy because it's like warm calls. Like Sherman was saying, it's not all you're doing is you're meeting with somebody, having coffee with them, talking to them about your business, and then seeing how you can collaborate with each other.
Yeah.
What's good referrals for them? What's good referrals for me? And just like that builds very, very quickly. And it kind of spreads very quickly too. You can do that constantly. Just things like that are good ways to do organic marketing when you're a brand new business.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when I hear the word cold call, I get these PTSD moments, right? Like maybe you guys are a little too young for it, but
so do I.
I remember being like a kid. We're sitting down at the dinner table having a nice family dinner, and the phone rings because they used to just straight up call you at like 7 o'clock at night because they knew you were having dinner with the family at the house, and they knew you had to answer because they just keep calling.
Yeah.
And anyway, my dad would always answer the phone, and he'd like pretend to be Stephen Hawkins or something like that, like just totally taking these guys for the ringer. So it was kind of like entertainment and dinner at the same time. But then there were a few times my dad, like, he had a rough day. He'd answer that phone, and I was like, oh, man, I would hate to be on the other end of that phone.
Yeah.
So that's cold calls in my mind.
Well, and like my past, like he was saying, I used to knock doors. Like that was one of my strategies, and it PTSD all the way.
That's what my next question was what do y'all think about the door-to-door kind of sales?
Yeah. So that's something I used to do a lot of. Yeah. And it's you can do it. Any business can do it. You can go knock some doors, you can do it. It's just it is harder work, and you can be almost just as productive by doing organic, like warm calls, by just meeting people, accessing your network. Everyone's got a network, whether it's their parents that know someone, their realtor, anybody, their friend. You can access your network pretty easily, and that's something I've learned over the past couple of years to really grow my business is accessing your network. Yeah, because those right there are they're warm calls. You're just meeting people, talking to them, having coffee, doing all these things, and you're building those relationships. Yeah, yeah. You can door knocking is PTSD. That's what you door knocking. Just bugging people's day.
Yeah.
You said cold calling, and I watched this webinar for a customer relationship management company.
Okay.
And I put in my phone number instead of the business phone number.
Oh, boy.
And they called me twice as soon as the webinar was over. Then they called me the next day before my alarm went off. I wake up at 7:30. I was not happy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. They called you at like 6 a.m.?
They called me at like 7. And then they called me again like that following Monday, and I finally answered the phone because I was like, stop calling me.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Well, and that is a strategy. Don't get me wrong. There are people that do really well, and they build empires on that by like overwhelming people, right?
Yeah.
But do you genuinely like, how do you feel when you buy from something like that? It's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
And you bought something, and maybe that's all the business cares about, but like the relationship isn't there. The trust isn't there. And that's kind of what we were talking about is like, I would much rather take the approach that Kyle has, and even if you're brand new to a city, I mean, think about what, Joe and I have done in San Antonio in the last 6 months. We didn't know anybody. I think last time Joe was in San Antonio was 20 years ago. And so we stepped foot in the town, and in a very short period of time, we're able to build a large network and a lot of connections. And with that, we're helping a lot of people, right? That kind of bounces off what Kyle's saying about giving first. And so if you're in a new city and let's say you're in, I don't know, let's say you're a painter. We'll go with that since we're talking about painters earlier. You're a painter, and you're not going to start looking at all the advertising companies, right? You're going to start networking, hopefully, to start, making a name for yourself, putting a face to the name at least. And then with that, when you're offering your services, like, hey, how can I help you build your business? How can I help you achieve your dreams, right? What can I do to bring value to our relationship, right? You're not asking for anything. You're not a taker.
Yeah.
You're in there, and you're like genuinely trying to help someone. And I keep saying genuine because you got to be genuine about it. We all know those guys who show up that are like, oh, yeah, let me help you out. And I'll bring you 65,000 leads. And it's like, dude, thanks, but no thanks. So, the more genuine and honest and real you are with people, the more real the relationship's going to be. I will say that is something San Antonio has done a wonderful job at. And I love going to the networking stuff here because people know the people in the room. Like they have these little inside jokes. the
Yeah.
little banter on the side. It's like, man, you guys genuinely like each other.
Yeah.
You're not just here for lunch. And that's cool to
Oh,
watch.
yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what I like seeing about San Antonio too. Is it's a lot like Boise. We're very relationship and connection driven, like genuine people. It's
Yeah.
nice seeing genuine people and being around people that are legit genuine and want to learn about you and want you to be successful.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see.
We get this question in Idaho. So, all right, I think everywhere in the U.S., and no offense, California, parts of you I love, but you kind of invade when you go places. No offense, I love you guys, but you know, we get this thing in Idaho where people are like, yeah, let me do this to help you out, and they seem like they really want to help you, right? But Idaho has kind of learned to prep the question, how long have you been here? And they're like, oh, well, you know, I've been here 3 months, and it's like, all right, well, maybe we'll do business in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because usually what happens is like people from California, Southern California, they'll move to Idaho and then it gets cold. And they're like, no, I don't like this. I can't do it. I'm moving back, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to build that relationship with somebody who's only going to be there temporarily. But we did have one guy, he's like, I feel like I could call myself officially an Idahoan. And I was like, oh, all right, where are you from? And he's like, well, I'd rather not say. I was like, all right, I know exactly where you're from. How long you been here? And he was like, 9 months. And I was like, bro, you got about 10 more years to go before you call yourself an Idahoan.
Is that what the people from Idaho are called? Idahoan?
Idahoans,
Idahoans,
yeah.
I've never heard it before.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Idahoans.
Yeah, not
funny.
Iowa. We're not different part of the country.
No,
for you
tell
guys
people
that
on the
don't know.
map it's Iowa. It's all the way over here.
Dude, and surprisingly, though, I don't know if you guys know this quick side story. We're known for potatoes, like Idaho famous potatoes,
Yeah.
right? Our number one export, if I remember correctly, is onions.
Yep, it's not potatoes.
It's not potatoes.
That's
Interesting.
interesting.
Although all of the McDonald's fries come from Idaho.
Really?
Yeah, there's a company called Ore-Ida. It's like Oregon and
yeah.
Idaho border, and they work with Simplot and they supply all the French fries to McDonald's. So
That's why they're good.
yeah, moved to Idaho. It's great. All the French fries you could ever want.
I am not sure I know where Idaho is on the map.
Oh
I'll
my
be
gosh,
so
my
real.
heart.
I'm sorry.
My heart.
I'm sorry. I didn't take geography.
What?
I
All
say
right.
geometry.
Geography.
Geography. I didn't take it, so
We'll talk after the podcast.
yeah. We'll pull up a map later. It's fine.
Yeah.
Texas education system in
Yeah.
work.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, no comment on that. We're here to talk marketing.
Well, bringing it back to kind of our topic. So I mentioned before, my dad's like a handyman. And he meets his clients in the wilds, is what I like to say. He likes to he met most of his like big clients at a gas station. Like he'll sit there in line and talk to them and build a relationship. Like, oh, that's so cool what you do. I do this. So right now he works for a realtor and he flips homes basically.
Perfect, yeah,
So
great position.
like you mentioned before about being like, what can I offer you? That's his strategy. And that's how
Great.
he's found work and has been successful in that.
Yeah.
And I like that you mentioned it because it reminded me of that. And I think that's interesting in the wild kind of thing. I don't know. I think I'm a little bit more timid about it.
Yeah.
But no, he's ready to be like, no, I'm so good at this. Like, let me show you these photos. Let me show you everything. And so, yeah.
Well, I think that's our hope, right? You know, not to digress, but even when it comes to dating, like, don't you want to meet someone in the wild?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now in our age.
Yeah, like you
yeah.
want it to be natural, right? You know, so you just like you bump into each other at the store. Or,
Yeah,
like,
a
you're
little
like,
meet
hey.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried dating apps for a dating app for 2 months.
Yeah.
Deleted it.
Need a
Yeah,
meet
sorry
cute.
about that.
I know, right?
I will say, so I'm 6'4" and I do get asked to get things off the top shelf a lot.
I
I
think
can't
that's a
reach
method.
that, and I'm like, I think you can. But
That's a flirty method for sure.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
So that's marketing, right?
Yeah. Market yourself.
Yeah. So how long has your dad been doing his handyman gig?
So he used to be an electrician for
Okay.
a few years, and him by himself has been, I would say, since 2019.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, a couple years now. He mainly works with like a couple of like realtors
Yeah.
that he helps flip homes and everything.
Right.
He was also a cook, so he also sells himself as a cook,
Yeah.
and so he goes and helps restaurants also. So
cool.
he's very much like I can do that, so let me
Yeah.
help you kind of thing. Yeah, so about since 2019, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think his dreams are with that? Like what drives him to do that? Does he want to stay busy, stay healthy, stay active? Does he want to Make $1 million? What's his goal?
So I mentioned earlier about you're good at this, but business difference.
Yeah.
I don't think I love him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a business guy.
Right.
Like he has a business mindset kind of thing. So I think what he wants to do or what drives him is he likes creating things. He likes being like, ooh, if I put lights over here, look all cool here. He's very much like the idea person when he does do those kind of things, which I think is really admirable because he's very creative in that sense. And I think that's where I get it from. So
Yeah, that's fulfilling too.
Yeah.
When you had mentioned that he cooked as well, I was like, man, this guy's an artist.
yeah.
Like he's got,
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Not to hype him up too much, but
Yeah. If you're listening, Dad.
got you. But yeah, so that's what he likes to do. He likes to do the actual job part of it.
Yeah, great.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that kind of brings up a good point, like going back to the service-based industry. So this is something I see a lot, and almost every business, actually all of the businesses I've run so far have been service-based. And with that, it's like so close to our passion. We're excited about it. We genuinely just want to like do what we love, right? I was fortunate enough through all of my 20s to live out my childhood dream of being the professional martial artist and running an academy and like working with kids and like just inspiring the next generation, all these cool things like I felt when I was a kid, right? I grew up watching Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles and like I was practicing in my bedroom like, the bad guys and kicking pillows, whatever we did. But anyway, like to be able to live that, it is hard to build a business out of something that you're that deeply passionate about. You know what I mean? And one of the hardest struggles I had hired a coach at one point to help me scale the business. I was doing all right, and I was working for myself. But I wasn't running like a business, right? I think I had one employee, and my wife and I at the time were running the school, and it was doing all right. We were doing all right. And he was very adamant I needed to raise my prices. And I was like, that goes against everything my mission was. And my mission was to be able to provide like that experience without breaking the bank, essentially. I wanted like
affordable.
families, and I specifically targeted and chose low-income neighborhoods to provide our services in because I wanted to give those kids something. They, in my mind, needed the most help, right? And so we did that, but I couldn't build a business charging what we were charging. And he was very adamant that I needed to up my prices. And I promised myself I would never charge $100 for lessons. And that's the number he landed on. So he was like, you got to charge $100, man. And I was like, all right, we'll try it out. We'll see what happens. But what that did is like as resistant as I was to that and as much as my ego was in the way of that, the moment I started charging more money, it opened up opportunity for us to do more for the families that I was trying to help in the first place. I wasn't limited on what I was able to provide for them. And so I bring this up because it's just a good lesson about like when you're in the service and you're trying to like do something to help people, it's hard to think about the business on that aspect, right? We see this a lot with nonprofits even. It's not about the money. We're just doing it to help people. Like I make shoes for people in Africa. That's great. I think that's awesome. Like do that. Live your vision, live your dream, help who you can, right?
Yeah.
But it always comes back to that question. And Joe's really good about it, and he's very blunt about it. Like they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're going to help all these people and all this stuff, but it's not about the money." And Joe will go, "Well, imagine if you had the money, how many more people could you help?"
Yeah.
And then they hit that wall and they're like, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
And that's like, yeah, let's get into some fundraising. Let's get you into some nonprofit support. Let's start doing some things to kind of like generate movement for your business so you could help those people at the end of the day. But through that, you got to build the business. You have to take care of the vehicle that's driving your mission, right? Because it can't all be you.
Yeah.
And like if you're like a fitness coach, for example, and you get injured, there goes your business. You can't coach people, right? Or maybe you can from the chair with a stick and like poke at them. And
I can. I'll just
yeah. You call that a push-up? So
Yeah. See, I think that's always been something I'm curious about, pricing within those type of things of services and like, so.
Yeah, well, and to touch on what Sterling said is that actually just like a scenario that happened we have a fitness business, me and my wife, and we started working with Joe, and that exact same scenario happened. We were charging, this much for sessions, but it hit a point where you still have to grow a business. You got to be able to support people around you, and in order to provide the stuff we want for the clients, you need to be able to charge more. When it all comes back to relationship. Because Joe, we were like, okay, just up your prices this much and see how many clients you lose. Didn't lose a single one. They all stayed with you because they're with you because the relationship is why. They trust you. They know we can get them to where they want to be. It's not everything's about a price tag. It's really not.
Yep.
So you got these relationships with people, and now that you can charge more and they're with you, now you can provide extra services and the stuff for these clients. It's not just a price tag, you got to charge this much and you're going to train. Now, to piggyback on what Sterling was saying, now look what we can do with this to help them. We can do quarterly events for them. We can do these cool get-togethers. And that's just all because just by raising prices and giving them this value. Yeah. So it all comes back to those relationships too.
Oh, yeah.
They buy from people that they like and they trust and they want to do business with you. And same with like when I went from training, I went to an office tech industry. I've been doing solar for a while. All these clients I had, they followed me everywhere I went just because they're buying me, not the product I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys ever talk to someone in that situation, like they're changing jobs and they're terrified to do it, you guys are like, I'm going to lose all my clients.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you are, maybe that's a reflection on you. Like,
Yeah. Recently, one of my mom's friends, she's a hairstylist, and that's kind of like the services thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And she moved from one salon to another, but the other salon was more pricey. It was more expensive.
Yeah.
And all her clients moved because they like her. They've been with her for years. You can have the same hairstylist for like 20 years. And so that's what it was. And I think about that with like my connection, like my nail lady. I love what she does. If she charges a little more, I mean, I know who she is and I know she does a good job. I know that what I'm going to get is going to be good. Compared to someone, if I move to someone that's cheaper, I don't know what they're going to give me. Like, I don't know the relationship I'm going to have. What if they're a terrible person? Like, I don't know, And I think that goes with what you said about they're moving there because they're with you. They're with the person. That's who they want to do their service with.
Well, and I think that support too, like with what Kyle's saying, like he built a community with that. Like, and a community is essentially is like a family because you're supporting each other, right? Yeah. You're helping them, they're helping you. But to kind of point on that as well. So I know a gal in Idaho. She's 24. She's been in business for a few years. Great at what she does. Like just an absolute like gem when it comes to the service she provides. And with her clients that had followed her from like where she was in school. She's a licensed massage therapist, and they worked with her since she was in school. She opened up her own like salon studio, or not salon. It's like a whole. It's kind of like a health center now. She does like nails and hair and
all
massage
stuff,
and
dude.
Reiki and hypnotherapy. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah, and she's been in business 2 years, but she's had that support, and she was like terrified to raise her prices, and she raised them like $50. It was like not a big jump, right? And when she did that, she was like flabbergasted by the response because she thought she was going to lose clients. And almost every single person was like, it's about time. Like, what are you doing charging so little? Like, you're worth more. And then they just like full ride supported her through that. So, Yeah. So it's scary sometimes. If you guys are listening and you are in a small business, you gotta charge what you're worth, and you're not going to get better clients by being cheaper. It just doesn't happen. You attract the wrong people. Everyone's looking for a good deal, sure. But, if you're charging generic prices, let's say you go to the grocery store. I don't know, have you guys ever eaten generic cereal before? Yeah. And then you, like, get the real stuff, and you're like, what in the world is this?
The H-E-B brand versus, like, Lucky Charms.
Yeah. And you're like, this is great. I'm never going back. Actually, I remember that being a very vivid moment for me. So I was at a point in growing business. I was making $200 a month. I was like 19 years old, renting a room from this guy who was not a joy to be around. And it was just hard. It was really hard. But I was, again, really passionate about what I was doing. I was only there for a few months. Granted, I was putting everything I had into the business, but I was living off like Bisquick pancake mix where you just add water. Because that's all I could afford, right?
That sounds amazing. Those are delicious.
When you have them every day.
Until about day 3, and you're like, man, this really sucks. I need to change what I'm doing, change my approach. But anyway, I forgot what was going with that story now.
Basically, you're living with that,
generic.
About,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, started making money, like got, moved out, got my own place and all that fun stuff, right? And I remember being at the grocery store, and I looked down at the family-size box of Lucky Charms. And I went, man, I wish I could afford that. And then I was like, wait a second, I can't afford that. I'm an adult. Like, I can do whatever I want. And I was like, I'm making good money finally. And I had to break that mindset that I was poor because I wasn't. And I was like, dang, I could buy that and that. And then it just shifted. But thank you, Lucky Charms, for helping me realize that. You were delicious.
Sponsor us.
Yeah.
If you're listening.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you have any other questions? No, that was it.
No, I think that was good. This has been fun. Thank you guys for coming like every month. We love having you guys on here.
Appreciate
and
it.
You always provide so much good information, not just for us, but also for the people watching as well. And we really appreciate the connection that we've
We've built a relationship with y'all.
Yes, the relationship we've been building.
Yeah, and vice versa. It's been great. Looking forward to it every month. Like this is something that we definitely enjoy. So, yeah,
Hopefully we'll have Kyle back on too. Also,
Yeah.
we'll have all three of y'all here.
I'll be back.
that'd be great.
That'd be good.
I don't think we'll actually talk about anything.
No, that's fine.
We'll digress the entire time.
I actually want to have a podcast where we're just talking about nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing
really
but
fun.
everything.
Just life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything. Yep.
How we got into the dating topic today.
Oh, dude, yeah, we did actually. Yeah, I forgot about that already. So I do got to plug Joe in real fast.
Yes.
I think so. Those of you who don't know Joe that are listening, he's an incredible human being, and the way his brain works is like legit the only person on the planet I've ever met that functions at his level. He's like a literal genius, and I say that literally. Like he's taken the test.
Yeah.
The guy is a genius, and so his ability is just like bar none. It's unmatched. So if you guys haven't connected with Joe already, please do connect with Joe on social media. He's on LinkedIn. Like literally just Google his name. It's Joe McKittish.
Yeah.
MIKITISH. It's pretty,
Nailed it.
pretty straightforward. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of proud of myself on that. I'm not going to lie. I thought about
I
it for a
could
second. Yeah. But he's just an amazing guy all around. So connect with him. He's always open. A lot of people tell me that they're intimidated to chat with Joe just because of his caliber within the markets that he's involved with.
He's so nice though.
He is so nice.
Yeah.
Like, legit open. If you text him, reach out, email, text, whatever, he will get back to you. And he does it personally. We don't have assistants that do that stuff. That's the real Joe. So if you guys are in a position where you're like wanting to start a business, transition out of your job into chasing your career or your passion, please pursue it. But do it with guidance. Don't just think you got all the answers because some dude on TikTok is telling you all the answers. Don't follow that stuff. There might be legit dudes out there, but I haven't really discovered anyone that I like truly, honestly, I'm like, man, I love that guy. He's real. He's telling the truth on all of it.
Yeah.
Most of it, I'm like, come on, bro.
There's always something a little weird about that.
Yeah. If you guys are thinking about starting, like, oh man, all right, I got to vent for a second. If you're going to quit your job to start yard selling, I'm not going to call out who said that, but if you're going to do that, please, for the love of God, don't do that. Like that is not a profitable business. Yeah, and I'll tell you straight up, Joe did try that model. Like straight up, him and his wife both for I think it was 3 or 4 months, one summer, they were like, you know what? We got the time. Our businesses are doing fine. Let's go yard selling. Let's follow this guy and just really see how profitable it is. Because if anyone could do it, we could do it. And so they went all in, like literally treated it like a full-blown business. Joe's obviously got the mind and the experience to do that. And they averaged it out at the end of the summer. What they made, it was $4 an hour. Please do not quit your job to go yard sailing.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that was a thing.
Dude, it is a thing. And I see it all the time on TikTok, and I'm like, stop saying that. Anyway, be smart with your decisions. If you're curious or unsure of the direction you're going, reach out to us. Ask. We'll tell you thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
If it's a good opportunity. If you got some questions on the, structuring the operations of the business or how are you going to sell it? How are you going to market it? What's the best approach? Should I pay for ads? Should I not pay for ads? We'll literally help you out. And we do that for free because that's where our heart is on all that stuff. We're not going to charge you for it. Granted, if you want us to coach you, that's a different story. But if it's a quick question, we'll help you out for sure.
That's great. So where can our audience find you? We've said this before, but of course, remind them.
Yeah, so for myself, Sterling Crawford, Facebook and LinkedIn are the top two. I tend not to do Instagram or Snapchat or any of that other stuff. I like to stay focused, and I do the death scroll on that. So I'm like,
Fair.
Yeah, let's stay focused. But anyway, Facebook and LinkedIn are the best ways to get a hold of me.
Same with me. Kyle Ellwanger, Facebook or LinkedIn. Those are usually the best ones. I'm on Instagram, but not
for work.
No, not for work.
That's more personal.
Full of hunting and fitness. That's it.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, for coming on. We
Thanks
love
for having
having
us.
y'all. Of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
But yeah, this is While Supplies Last, the marketing podcast. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and then we're with Peachtree Rose Marketing. So you can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And if you guys want to schedule a free consultation, you can email. Ooh, I just lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
You can go to our website at peachtreerosemarketing.com and click on the button. It says
Book now.
book now.
You got there.
Yeah.
We got it. You can reach out to us on peachtreerosemarketing.com.
Yes. All right. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.